Dear Mike, this week is going very fast because I am so busy. I have to make something called a visual aid. I hope Mrs. Gracie will give me an A.
Elle hasn't been in school, she's been in training at the center. Because of that, her developmental level is below what her developmental level would be if she's been in school all this time. And so that's why her work may not be at the level that many people would expect. And when she's reading all of this out, it seems like someone that's younger than what her age is. And that's what happens to a lot of children when they haven't been in school, or if they're going through trauma or are dealing with a disability. She's put all of this time and effort and care into it, and so much so that she hopes that she's going to get a really good mark.
Helen Keller as my hero.
What an inspiring story.
Now let's see who has to follow that.
Jane.
And I think that all of us have had that experience when we're all nervous and waiting to give that presentation, and someone comes up before us and kills it, and we have to follow them. And for a lot of people, we already have this pressure of public speaking because you are standing up in front of everyone and being judged. And this isn't just at any time of our life. It's at the time of the life where we're dealing with puberty and development. And let's just say it, high school is a very judgmental time when people really will ridicule or make fun of or mock. And so that nervousness is just exacerbated by having someone go on right before you and they do really well.
Hi. For my hero, I chose my dad.
Public speaking is probably one of the largest anxieties that I deal with. It's from the area of social anxiety. For a lot of people, this is still scenes that they have in their nightmares, even years after leaving school. That's how much of a traumatic effect it can have on people.
I made a diorama of our cabin.
More like diarrhea.
And when you're going up there and you're having trouble with struggling, or you're so busy in your head because you're so nervous, it's really difficult because the part of your brain that has to process language slowly gets turned off because your anxiety levels are starting to go up. For a lot of people, this is what causes social anxiety. It's not even just being mocked and made fun of, though that is one of the main causes, but even changing schools, because it's a completely new culture. It's a different set of rules that you have to learn to adapt to. And going through that experience can leave us with this strong fear of negative judgment from others.
Quiet, everyone.
And when she's getting laughed at, she has that sweet little laugh with everyone. She doesn't yet recognize that they're not laughing with her. They're laughing at her.
Quiet, everyone. Let's be respectful.
When the teacher says be respectful, though, she's not with command. She's doing it in such a placating, soft, appeasing way. And that's a huge problem because as a teacher, when you're managing a group, you're the one that's setting the rules, the boundaries, and consequences to keep this area safe. And because she's so timid by it, you know that this is something where the students are actually running the group.
This is Mr. Fibley. He is a squirrel.
And now you can see that she's starting to understand that she's actually being mocked, that they're not laughing with her. You can hear from her voice starting to crack, and she's having trouble being able to control her facial features. All of those little micro expressions of pain are being shown to everyone. That's what happens when we get really anxious and in front of people, is that as our anxiety levels increase and all of that cortisol and epinephrine goes through our system, our body starts going into fight or flight. But I love that Will is still trying to encourage her. It's okay, get through it. This is going to be fine. And sometimes having that one person that's affirmative will help you get through things that you might want to just bolt, run, or cry from, which is so understandable, especially in this kind of scenario. Watching this also creates secondary trauma for all of us who have maybe experienced it or seen someone else go through this. It's so painful.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just confused. I thought this was a presentation about a historical hero.
Do you see those eyes, that widening of Elle's eyes? That's that feeling of when you get that huge adrenaline dump, and it's like a deer in headlights where you can't believe that this is actually happening.
My dad was in the newspaper.
Your local paper? I just don't think that's what Mrs. Gracie meant by historical.
And that voice, like the actress that does this does a great job because she has that upswing in her voice that's like sugary sweet, but you know it carries daggers behind it because she's really socially assassinating her in front of the entire group. There's some people that are so adept at being able to socially assassinate you, but in such a quiet way that they won't even get in trouble for it because it's under the mask of being kind and thoughtful, but really it's just carrying daggers behind your back.
Supposed to be about famous people?
My dad is famous. He saved lots of lives in a mall fire. He was a hero for people. And he was my hero too.
A lot of people, especially when they deal with confrontation, they end up either feeling angry or end up wanting to cry. And I think that it's really hard for people, especially when they're upset. As they get more and more upset, they can't control it and their voice might crack or they might end up showing tears. And for a lot of people, they see this as weakness. It's the last thing that they want to do. But when they're dealing with this type of confrontation, and as Elle, Jane, is looking around, no one is there to defend her. Not even the teacher, whose job is to keep this area safe so that people can share and be vulnerable. And for all of us, the audience who might have gone through this and know what Elle has gone through, we were kind of screaming at the screen to be able to say, please, someone do something, come up and protect her and let her know that it's going to be okay, and to stop this person in her tracks from being so hurtful and malicious.
That's not what I'm saying at all, but it's okay.
And I hate that. I hate that it's not what I'm saying, but it's okay, because it's so condescending. It's pretty much saying that you're not intelligent enough to understand what I mean, but I don't care enough about you to be able to explain it any better.
I am so sorry, Mrs. Gracie. I just wanted clarity on the rules of the assignment.
Technically, you are correct, but Jane has decided to do her father.
Instead of protecting and defending her, she's allowing her to be mocked by everyone and actually siding with the person that's mocking her by saying, you know what, you're actually right. It's an interesting thing with group dynamics. Sometimes in a classroom, a student is so powerful, so popular, that even the teacher isn't able to deal with a proper boundary to the person. In a lot of the cases, this teacher or role model or leader of the group is actually also afraid of becoming mocked and being the victim of this person's persecution or attacks. And so because of that, they end up aligning themselves with the bully. I've seen it happen. You would think that most teachers, most of the times when we become adults, that we would become immune to this, but it isn't true.
So, please continue with your presentation, Jane.
These are the types of events that end up leaving us with that fear of being judged from others, having social anxiety. We can also go through secondary trauma, not even ourselves going through this, but to hear other people being judged at home or in other situations can make us also fear judgment ourselves. So secondary trauma means that we're going through it by watching someone else be mocked or made fun of, which makes us not want to have that happen either, because there's such a strong need for us to be able to be welcomed and accepted by the group. That need to be accepted by others is ingrained in us. Why? Well, because we needed the tribe to survive. A solo human usually wouldn't have a great chance of surviving outside of their tribe. And that's what social anxiety is. It's the fear of judgment from others, because that could have led us being kicked out of our group and being alone, which decreased our chances of survival. For some people, social anxiety is with people that are strangers and you don't know. That's the larger type of social anxiety. But for some people, it's actually they get more worried about people that they do know. And the closer they get to them, the more they fear them judging them negatively.
So sorry.
Angela!
And this is the full ending of that nightmare. That feeling when you finally get to confront that bully, the person that's been teasing you and bothering you the entire time, and you go to get back at them and nothing happens. Like you're like trying to attack them. You're like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. You just have no strength inside of you. But for Elle, who's used to being so strong and so powerful and able to protect not only herself, but everyone else, and in this case, she can't even stop herself from being mocked and bullied. The only thing that happens is she gets laughed at again for yelling out in this way that no one really understands.
What the hell was that?
And that feeling, that bystander syndrome of everyone being able to watch, or when someone's having a panic attack, everyone's taking out their phone to make a video, to be able to put it online, to be able to get those internet points. No one wants to stand up and be able to defend her because they'll then become a pariah also. The other piece to it is that actually, the more people that are in a group watching something bad or horrible happen to someone, there's actually less of a chance, not more of a chance, that anyone is going to help you. And that's what happens in the science of group dynamics, because the responsibility is spread out among the group. If there's only one person there and something bad happens, you feel like the onus is 100% on you. 100 people in a group and someone has to do something to protect someone, you only have 1% of that responsibility. So the more people that are there, there's actually less of a chance that someone's going to help.
Jane, did someone do this?
I tripped. It was just an accident.
If she did tattletale, she understands that she would even be more reviled from the group, and people would be even more upset at her for her getting in trouble. So she did the only thing that she felt like she could. Yet now the teacher decides that it's gone too far and she's going to take actions in her own hand.
You come with me.
What? Why? I didn't do anything. Tell her, Jane. Tell her.
And I can't believe that she has the gall to ask Jane to tell the teacher that she didn't do anything after she caused all of this trauma. Some people have absolutely no shame. I think that a lot of people have gone through experiences that are similar to this and can really empathize with what Elle is going through, how hard it is to be able to integrate when you don't understand all of the rules that are in play. There are many other cool Stranger Things out there, but living with anxiety isn't one of them. If you want to take a look at in-depth ways to manage it, check out my brand new Nebula class on beating anxiety. It covers what anxiety is and straightforward tools and techniques on how to cope with it, so you can start living a better life today. There are also brand new Nebula classes from Thomas Frank on Business 101, Legal Eagle on how to sue like a lawyer, Sam from Wendover on persuasive communication, as well as classes with music, writing, animation, travel, and many more, with new classes going up every week. They're all masterfully produced and available for just $10 a month or $100 a year, and that includes thousands of ad-free, sponsor-free videos already on Nebula. And new videos are coming out every day from me and all your other favorite education creators, including original exclusives and extended and bonus features that are only available on Nebula, like my 2-hour Jinx saga from Arcane. And for those of you that have already signed up for Nebula, including CuriosityStream, it's only $5 a month or $50 a year to upgrade to classes. So just hit the button on the screen or the link in the description and start learning today. Hitting that link really does help out my channel, and so does watching this playlist, where I break down the characters and scenes from Vox Machina, Arcane, Stranger Things, and many more. So give it a watch, and I'll see you in the next video. So hopefully you enjoyed this scene about what Elle is going through in her school. Hopefully it didn't cause you a lot of traumas of your own school experiences, and if you like this video, please hit subscribe.